In this video we'll be showing you how to paint the Skeleton Warriors for Soulblight Gravelords and for Cursed City. Welcome back to the channel, and in this episode we are going to be starting to paint the Cursed City box set, and we're going to start with the Skeleton Warriors for this. Now you can use these techniques if you're doing a Soulblight Gravelord army as well, and with these models there's kind of four main parts to it. You've obviously got all of the bone parts, which are going to be the skulls, the arms, and the leg parts down here. Then you've obviously got the armour, so you've got the head, the armoured pieces up around here, the shield. Then you've got the cloth, which is obviously around here, and then you've got the weapon as well. So I've primed the model in Halford's Khaki Spray. Now you can use Army Painter's Skeleton Bone as well for the same colour, or you could use a Wraith Bone if you want. That's a little bit lighter, but it's all going to still have the same effect. Now the first thing we're going to be doing is the bone, and for this we're going to be using the Contrast Skeleton Horde. And what we're going to be doing is just going in on all of this bone. Now we're going to do the bone details first because it makes it easier to actually pick up all of the skeleton parts before you do all of the bones. So you just want to do a nice even coat across everything, make sure it doesn't pull anywhere. Again, just take a quick look when you're doing all of this, because there are some parts, as you can see underneath this cloth, you can see there, you can see that leg bone in there. So you just want to kind of get a nice decent cover, and you see it just tinges the colour that we're looking for, and then we're going to layer up from here. So just go around picking out all the bone parts with Skeleton Horde Contrast, and then we'll be back for the next step. And now with that contrast dried, you can see that we've got a nice good base coat for all the bone done. Now we will be doing highlights for this, but we're going to do this later on. The next step we're going to be doing is all of the metal in Leadbelcher. That includes the chest piece, the shoulder parts, the headrest. You've got this chainmail part that goes down here, the boots and knee pads, tip of the spear, and these shields as well. So we're going to do all of that in Leadbelcher, and we're doing that now because if we get any on the bone at this stage, we can then tidy it up when we do the highlights. If we've done all the bone up to full highlights now and then went back to Leadbelcher, if we then messed up the bone, it would take a bit more work to get it tidied up. So that's it. We're going to be using Leadbelcher for this, and it's pretty straightforward of all the parts that are going to be metal, and it is going to be quite a lot of it. So you just want to go in with a nice thin coat across all of the metal parts. You're going all the way around the model, and like I said, for some of these skeletons it is mainly armour that they've got. Some of the others are kind of more cloth, but like I said, you just want to go around, and we are going to kind of add some washers and some weathering to all of this to make it look all rusty and worn and like soldiers of times past. But you just want to go around and cover all of this. Now on the back, as you can see, we're not actually going to do any of this because it's all cloth, and the straps as well. So you just want to do this shield here, I'm going to do this helmet, shoulder pads, the boots. You want to do the front and the back, and that knee pad there as mentioned, back of the shield, and like I said, tip of the spear, and you can see just there is the end of the spear tip. So let's do Leadbelcher and all of that, and then we'll be back for the next step. With the Leadbelcher done, we're then going to go in and do all of the cloth, and for this we're going to be using Khorne Red. Now you want to be doing all of this bottom part as well as the inside, so you're going to have to be a bit careful when you get into kind of the top part around here, the inside's around there. You've got a little shoulder part here, and then it follows all the way around, and we're going to do all of this cloth here. If you do get a bit on these straps here, don't worry about it, we're going to go back over that with a different colour in a bit, but like I said, you just want to be going in 2 thin coats of Khorne Red. And obviously anywhere that you've done with Leadbelcher or the bone colour, just be as careful as you can so you don't get anything covered. If you do, once you've finished the Khorne Red, just go back in with the Leadbelcher if you get it on the metal. And as we said with the bone, we will tidy that up on a step later on. So Khorne Red and all of this, and we'll be back for the next step. And with the Khorne Red done, the last step that we've got before we do all of the washers is going to be doing the hilt of the spear, this kind of metal wooden board back of the shield, and the straps. And we're going to do all of these in Citadel Contrast Wyldwood. And you just want a nice even coat. Now with the contrast, obviously they are a little bit runny and can be quite thick, so just be careful as you go around not to get any on anything that you've already painted. But like I said, you just want to go round, make sure it doesn't pull anywhere, get it all on the sword, on the spear. Now for the bottom part here, this side will be easy. On the inside you just need to get a small detail brush and just look out for any parts. If you do get any on the cloth, then just tidy it up with some Khorne Red. For this part, again, just want to tidy it up, just make sure there's no pulling. I'm going to do this on both sides and into that part there. And then on the straps as well, you just want to go in, just want to drag it all the way down. Again, if you get any on the cloth part, just tidy it up with Khorne Red. So just go around and do all the spear and everything, and then we'll be back for the next step. And now with the Wyldwood all done, the base coats are all sorted for the miniature, and we're onto the wash stage. Now for this we have two different washes that we're going to be doing. For all of the metal we're going to be doing Reikland Fleshshade. That's going to give it a kind of orangey rusty look in the start of our rusted effect. And then for all of the red and the Wyldwood we're going to be using Agrax Earthshade. So with the Reikland Fleshshade, you just want to go all the way over. As you can see, as it goes on, kind of tints everything an orangey fleshy colour. And that's the kind of basis of our rust. And when this is dried, we're then going to go over in oranges and a little bit of kind of bright metal with kind of chip parts. But like I said, you just want to be careful as you go around, because obviously you don't want to get anything on the bone colours that we've already got. But you just want to go around and do everything that's you've base coated in Leadbelcher with this Reikland Fleshshade. So we'll do that one first, and then we'll be back for the next step. And now with that Reikland Fleshshade dry, you can see it's added that nice orange rusty tinge to it. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is Agrax on all of the robes and just on the wooden parts of here. So obviously with the Wyldwood we've kind of already got that shade, but you just want to darken it down again before we go up into Gorthor brown and highlights for this. And I won't worry too much about getting too much shade in it, because it's going to be quite dark already. But yeah, with these cloths you just want to make sure that it settles in all the recesses while also not pooling anywhere. So just as you're pushing it all the way around, you just want to make sure that there's no parts where there's too much of the wash going on. Just go all the way around. If you get a little bit on the metal, it's not too big an issue. It will just add an extra little bit of kind of weathering to it. But you just want to go around with Agrax and covering all of this cloth. With these straps as well, you can go back over just to add an extra bit of shade. But like I said, the main thing for this part is just making sure that the shade settles in those creases of the robes, but that we don't get any pooling as it dries. So just go all the way around with Agrax, and then we'll be back to do the layers. And now with all the washes dried, it's time to do all the layering. And for the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing all of the metal. We're going to be giving this a kind of rusty, orangey look, and we're going to be using game colour orange fire for this. And basically what you want to do is get an old brush, and you want to kind of almost like wipe it all off like a dry brush, but instead of dry brushing it on, you just want to stipple it on and kind of dab it on certain areas, and you can kind of see there just adds that extra bit of orange. And you'll find that the Fleshshade is kind of given that initial start of it, and this is the kind of next layer just to kind of add that rusty part. So you just want to go around and you just want to try and do less is more really. So just do little bits at a time and see how it looks, and then add to it as you need to. But you just want to go around and do this on all of this. Now for the spear, when you do a stabbing, just support it on the back, because otherwise you will just snap it straight off. But you just want to go around, do all the metallic parts. Now on the shield, we are going to add some of the Niloc Oxide into quite a lot of this design. So you don't need a lot of the orange for this, but you just want to make sure it picks out some of the parts and shows up a little bit. And for the shoes, you just want to try and do a little bit all the way around. So just dab it all on. Once you're happy with the end result, we'll be on for the next stage. Now with that orange fire stippled on, you can see it's starting to get that rusty effect. Now the next colour, as I mentioned, we're going to be using is Niloc Oxide. So it's a technical paint from Citadel, and you just want to go into kind of a lot of these, just dab it on where you want. You don't want a lot of it. You find out you put too much on, just use your finger to wipe it away. Now for these parts here, again, you just want to dab it down. This will kind of dry a little bit less bright, but you just don't want to kind of as you go around, you don't want to kind of overload with too much of this. But again, you just want to kind of pick out the parts where you think the metal is going to be corroded and a bit rusty, like so. Do the legs as well. We are going to be adding an extra metal colour on top, so if you do feel like you've done a bit too much, then we can tidy it up in the next step. But just go around, highlight it all up, add a bit of technical, and then for the shield you kind of want to just follow the design all the way around. You just want to kind of move back and forth over the design so it settles in amongst it all, like so. And the spear tip as well, you just want to go along where the rusty holes are and just drag downwards. So we'll just tidy this all up and then we'll be on for the next step. And there we go, with the oxide all dried, you've got this nice worn, kind of weathered look on the armour. The final thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be using Vallejo Game Colour Model Layer Chrome. This is a very bright silver. You could use Stormhost Silver to get the same effect. And you're going to be repeating what we did with the orange, but for this we're going to be using a very small brush, and you just want to be dabbing it onto the very top parts, just so it picks up some of the kind of very highest points of the edges, just to kind of show the kind of chip parts in the metal, or some of the parts that aren't as weathered or have been completely stripped back to whatever the bare metal is. So like I said, you want to do less is more again, but you do just want to kind of get the very top edges of stuff. Just want to bring in a bit of extra colour to it, like so. So just go around, and again you just want to check this, like so, and just see there, just that extra layer of kind of brightness there. Now on the shield, again, just want to kind of dab it on best as you can, like so. And there we go. So that is the aged rusty metal. that we've done. Now the next step we're going to be doing is going onto the cloth, so we'll be back for the next step right after this. So the metal done, like I said, we're going to be moving on to the robes, and for this we're going to be using Evil Sunz Scarlet, and what we want to do is just go around the kind of top edges of these robes. You kind of want to keep that Agrax and Khorne Red as the main colour for this. Just want to go in with this colour and just add extra little bit of a contrast and a bit more detailed. So we'll go around, we'll highlight all of this, and then we'll be back for the next step. As you can see, with the Evil Sunz Scarlet, that the robes are finally coming back to life. So what we're going to be using is Wild Rider Red. I'm going to be using this as a kind of final highlight, just to add some extra definition. We're going to be adding this to all of the kind of edges, just onto the points itself. So you're not going all the way around, you just want to kind of do the very kind of extreme points around here. You just want to kind of add an extra bit of colour like that. And for the razors bit here, just want to go in the middle part here, just to add an extra colour. So we're going to go all the way around with this, and then we'll work on the wood. Now that Wild Rider Red done, the robes are all finished. Now the final bits that we've got to do all of the wooden bits, which we're only going to be highlighting with a little bit of Gorthor brown. We're going to add that to the straps as well on the back, and also on the legs just here. And then we're going to just do one final highlight on the bone. So like I said, next step is going to be using Gorthor brown, and you don't want to do too much with this, because you do want to kind of use that Wyldwood as the main colour, but add kind of a little edge highlight on the kind of highest parts like that, just to add a little bit of a colour and a little bit of difference between that contrast paint. Now this can be an optional step. If you're happy with how the Wyldwood looks, then by all means stop there. For these parts here on the shield, you just want to kind of use the wood grain that is in there. You just want to kind of try and highlight as best as you can on the edges. Just get extra little bit of colour in there. Now you could use a dry brush if you wanted to, if you feel like that would be a little bit better. One problem with a dry brush, especially on areas like this, it's quite hard to get in there without ruining everything else that you've done. But like I said, the main thing that you want to be doing is keeping that Wyldwood showing. So I just want to go all the way down on the spear shaft, just picking it all out like so. And then for the straps, just leave this. You just want to highlight it like that. So that is the wood done. We'll be back to do the bone, and then we'll be finished with the model. Now that Gorthor brown done, we've just got the bone to do. And for this we're going to be using Games Workshop Flayed 1 flesh. You just want to go in on the highest point, and you just want to be picking up all of this. Now you want to try and leave that contrast showing a little bit. You just want to go in and pick out all the highest points of these bones, all the fingers, the kind of all the joints, everything like that. Now you could say that you're actually happy with just the contrast and leave it at that, but I think this colour just probably adds that extra little bit of detail to the skeletons and makes the bones stand out. Now the arms are very easy because a lot of it is already quite exposed and showing, so it makes it a lot easier to pick up. However, the face is quite hard, so you just need to go in and pick up the highest areas that you can, and be careful with all the metalwork that you've already done. So you just want to do the eye sockets both sides, and then you just want to go down, pick up the chin and the teeth as you can, like so. So we'll go around, we'll finish the rest of the arms, and don't forget the legs as well down here, and then we'll get them based up and we'll see the final model. And there's the finished models. Now if you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button, as it will really help the channel grow. For AOS tactics and discussions, check out the Tales of Sigmar podcast, and if you want any other models covered in future videos, please let us know in the comments below and we'll be sure to cover them in future videos. But until next time, take care and we'll see you soon.